Alright. Welcome to another episode of Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics / Non-Classics, episode 23. Well, you know our review? Now, let's get into the book I'm going to review. Spider-Man, the Red-Headed Stranger. A nod to the, two nods. One, to the fact that Mary Jane Watson comes back in this book. Well, it's sort of fell off from the last book, which I did not review on here. And Willie Nelson. Pretty much in the previous book, which is Dying Your Armstein, it's basically a very short book. It has issues 600 and 601, Amazing Spider-Man, the late story from Amazing Spider-Man Family number 7, and story from Web of Spider number 1. Pretty much, let's just sum up the book. The book itself has two different artists on it. The artwork does change for issue 601. 600 is pretty much the wedding issue of May Parker and John Jonah Jameson Sr., or as they know, John Jonah Jameson I, who is not only the father of John Jonah Jameson, the one who basically is typically in Spider-Man books, but also the grandfather of John Jonah Jameson III. Okay? Much older gentleman. He kind of does look like Jameson. Jonah. He does look like Jonah, but he's older. Jonah looks like he's probably in his 60s. Jay, as he likes to be called, is in his probably late 70s, early 80s. I'd say late 70s. His father is much older than he is, and he has a lot more gray hair. This book pretty much follows up right where the last one left off. You see, not only is Mary Jane Watson back, but the Chameleon as well. And he is a lot more violent than usual. One thing, he kills people now. I'm not kidding. And this book collects, I almost forgot, this book collects issues 602 to 605, Amazing Spider-Man. The artwork, I like the artwork on the cover, especially the cover 602. It's a great looking cover. Yes, it looks very realistic, and I like this cover. They use this type of art for the Marvel Noir series. Now, of course, Jameson is mayor. Pretty much, it's just the whole thing about this. And that Chameleon is wearing a different style mask than usual. He's... Okay. Now, he does this to his victims now. He dissolves them. Yeah, he kills them right after he takes their faces. And of course, there's also apparently a fake Slade. And it turns out that the real Slade is dead. Yeah, the original Slade is dead. This one's undercover. His new mandroids. Yeah. The artwork is okay, and Jameson liked the fact that he's related to him. Now, yeah. And Mary Jane Watson's back, and she wears this very strange looking outfit. And of course, Chameleon even poses as Peter Parker. Tries to repair his relationships. Hey, he even basically has sex with Michelle, his roommate. Yeah, he's the one having sex. This is the Chameleon having sex with Michelle, not Peter Parker. Yeah, this kind of very odd flirtation thing lasts for a little while. Then she leaves after just before Dan starts his run full time. Flash Thompson shows in the book gets basically awarded Medal of Honor. Of course, Peter's cousins show up in the book. That's pretty much like the first, I'd say, first 3 parts of this book. Yeah, a majority of this book is simply Spider-Man versus the Chameleon, which he's the first Spider-Man costume villain. Not the Vulture, not Dr. Octopus, not Green Goblin, the Chameleon. Up there, Mandroids. And of course, this story, which is issue 604, I believe it is the one, basically the one that ends the story arc. And of course, Harry's hanging off of Peter's cousins. And then something very, of course, Mary Jane shows up in his apartment. Yeah, and of course, he doesn't know the fact that Chameleon had sex with Michelle. And this is something particularly very, very interesting. This issue ends with the Chameleon, under one of his aliases, meeting up with somebody who has not been seen since Kraven's first hunt. Sasha Kravinoff, the Kraven Hunter's widow. Lovely woman. I give her that much. In the following book, she's kind of weird. Yeah. Yeah, and this next, this issue right here has got to be the most weirdest issue. It has the most oddest different. This one has the oddest artwork. It's all about Mary Jane Watson. Spider-Man plays a supporting role. White Rabbit is back. Yes, a almost forgotten villain. Yeah, I know who she is. She's White Rabbit. Him and her bogus gang. It's not a very impressive issue. Yeah. And then the backup story, there's actually a backup story, issue 605, where it picks up right where issue 601 leaves off. But pretty much it's just a brief thing. Yeah. Oh, and I think the following issue is the one basically. And then pretty much the issue ends with the setup for the next one, which deals with the return of the Raptor. For the first time since he tells, of course, I almost forgot to mention, Peter tells her about the Chameleon. She doesn't exactly believe him. Yeah, this is a long story, 605. Okay, everything's fine. Yeah, 605 is a very weak issue. Nothing really much happens in this issue. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Overall, this book I gave a 4 out of 5. I take the extra star off because issue 605 didn't really impress me very much. Despite the fact this is the second, third time read. The first 3 stories were really good. The third story was the weakest. The final story was the weakest out of all these issues. So, 4 out of 5. The artwork is fine. But the last issue is very weak. 6 of 5 is kind of a skippable issue, but you gotta read it because it's not trade paperback. Now, for the next episode. This one I'm looking forward to doing here. In episode 20. In episode 24. Stay tuned for the next one. I'll explain in the next episode where I get that from. Okay? Bye. Okay.